Yeah. So music kind of
Music was
your savior.
Oh my God. Yeah. I mean, I sit here and talk to a lot. I mean, when I talk to people and I'm telling them my journey, I say music, if I didn't have music, I wouldn't have made it to 18. And if I didn't have some of the people that were in my life at the times that they came in, I probably wouldn't have seen 16. Just with so much of, dealing with what I was dealing with and, dealing with the mental health and the depression and a lot of things that came out of that environment and,
depression as a kid's got to be a motherfucker. I didn't experience really any depression like personally until just a couple years ago, three and a half years or so ago.
Yeah.
And it was, it's brutal. I never knew. I couldn't imagine doing that as what I would have done as a kid if I had that shit.
And it was weird too, because like, I mean, when I diagnosed with PTSD and when I was going through the domestic violence in and of itself, I didn't really.
How come you call it domestic violence and not child abuse?
It's just a nicer way, I guess. I guess in my experiences too, I try to be very delicate with how I unpack that to people, because I've also had people freak out, or I've had people, I've been in relationships where maybe the parent of whoever I was dating, the daughter or whatnot, would say, well, what is the chances he'll do the exact same shit as his dad?
Sure.
So for me, that just is never a good feeling, especially since I've been through a lot of therapy. Like, I talk about it, but I've been through a lot of therapy. I'm a lot better of an individual than I probably, if I hadn't been through it. Like, there's been a lot of growth in that. So to avoid being kind of written off, I try to just kind of dance a little bit around it. But I mean, let's call it what it is, child abuse, domestic violence. I never really exhibited PTSD until afterwards. So I was about maybe 2-3 months away from that situation where I wasn't necessarily in physical danger. And then it just kind of like something just happened. It was almost like a switch got hit.
Okay.
And I would just lose my shit. I'd get angry. I'd get really, aggressive. I would yell. I would curse. I would be, and it was like I almost.
Especially at what age? 15, 16?
15.
Oh, that's even when you got added that on top of the hormones of a 15, 16-year-old boy.
Exactly.
Like, and there's just testosterone is insane. It's just an insane drug to boys.
No control, just flying off the handle every moment. I mean, I have friends and family. I mean, my mom held a lot of patience with me at those times, because I even at times I would snap and I would say something really, really mean, and then in my mind I'm like, why hasn't she just like took me and just spanked the mess out of me for like being so disrespectful, but thankfully she was understanding of kind of what was going on and trying to do better with us, and parent us better than what had kind of happened beforehand. But I just remember being out of control and going to therapy, and I was like, what is wrong with me? Like, I've never seen this before.
Yeah. Wow.
And yeah, just, went through the questionnaire, and, questions were asked about kind of how I'm perceiving the world and whatnot. And from there it was, PTSD. And then the next thing was, okay, I have this. And one of the things that I've always been really adamant about was I don't want to live like my father. And I don't want to live that life. I don't want to experience that, not just for myself, but whoever's around me, my kids, loved ones. I don't want this. So the next step for me naturally was, we got to bust our ass and make sure that we're working at fixing. I don't want to say fixing, but being more in control of these things. But music was a way for me to vocalize that pain and that frustration and that anger. And just being able to, and it was something that was mine, because I used to hoop when I was growing up, and that was something that was a lot of where my trauma came from, because it was like, oh, you didn't play well, so you're gonna sleep outside. Oh, you didn't do this, so we got to do you're gonna get this in return. So for me, I felt very restricted and oppressed almost in that sport. So I really lost love for it.
Wait, your dad was doing that to you if you weren't good enough?
My dad was a huge.
He was trying to raise you to be an NBA star for him.
I was good. I was in middle school starting varsity in JV high school games,
Wow.
and so I had a talent and I had a potential, but the pressure and the expectations that he was trying to place on me, it was no longer about just having fun and playing.
Right. There's no fun in that.
Yeah. And then, it was just a lot. It was just, the car rides home and all that shit. Just, it was like never could be me.
Hey, thanks for watching this 5-minute clip of the podcast. If you would like to enjoy the full version, you can only catch that on patreon.com/Neandertalk podcast. And you can do it for as little as $1 a month. And that'll get you all the video versions of the podcast. Thanks a lot, guys. I appreciate you watching this at least.